Hi, everyone. This is Byron here from Solveri. One of the things we've been doing recently is speaking with founders, builders, and operators across Europe about what they're building, the challenges they're facing, and how their products evolve as their companies begin to scale. Today, I'm joined by Shin for a conversation about his company, his founder journey, and some of the lessons and perspective he's gained between starting this project here in Europe and expanding to international markets. So I'm really looking forward to the discussion. Let's jump right in. Shin, thank you very much for joining us and taking your time to speak with us about your business.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, my name is Shin. A little about my background. I lived in Berlin for almost 10 years before I was in US and then Tokyo, Japan. And I've been working for a few startups here. And then uh, the latest company, I was working for online bank. And then I saw some opportunities and then yeah, the problem that I want to solve. So I start my company and then yes,
What is the name of your company and the product?
it's called AiLine. AiLine, like AI line. Yeah, like eyeliner. Yeah.
What led you to start the company, the specific product?
Yes. So last 4 or 5 years, I've been analyst in the online bank, and then basically my job was finding out like what is bringing us customers and like for 5 years, I've been always struggling getting to know what happened when in a company. Like very basic questions, like right, like when did we launch product? All these like very basic informations, quite highly correlated with the number of customers and churn. So my task was like 50% honestly asking people around, hey, what happened here? And the product team, domain specific people. And then they always answer me like, yeah, but it was shared on the all hands last month. Or like, we will share all hands in this month. And it's in this like a spreadsheet, like 100 pages of spreadsheet. And then I just wanted very public known information that everybody's supposed to know. Right. And then that I can feed into directly into the forecasting system. And then that's the problem I always had. And I think everybody is having, especially the mid-sized company.
So the problem that you're trying to solve with the product is that there's all this information within the company, but it's not being captured and organized and accessible in one place.
The key problem here, if I understand correctly, is structure, right? Somebody wrote a spreadsheet there, somebody wrote a meeting minutes there. The answer to what you're looking for is technically digitized in some way that nobody will ever look at it.
Exactly. Like so many people write the same thing, outdated. It's in the conference, it's in the spreadsheet, it's in the slides.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the problem that you're trying to solve. Now, why don't we get to the solution?
Yes, so idea is very simple. Basically, I wanted a one pit stop where people can come and see the informations, and then it aggregates all the informations around the company compliantly, and then it gains consensus with different sources. So imagine, okay, we launched feature X, an online bank. I think there are 3 people documenting about it, a PM or like the product lead and stuff. And imagine this person, everybody wrote a different launch date, right? Let's say it was today, it was yesterday, we don't know. But of course, there's a timestamp of documentations, and then there's like the number of consensus, right? Like maybe it's written as hey, we launched today in 2 different places, right? Versus one source. So it it first collects the public informations, like widely shared email or widely shared spreadsheet, public Slack channel. And then I just simply collect them as structured data, and then I let the AI do the rest of the job, basically taking a look at the timestamp and the number of the informations, like where does it overlap. I vectorize everything, so it's quite easy to compare. So
And what is the key output there? How do you then present that structured output to the people that actually want to know?
Yes. So I have a platform. Basically, it looks like a timeline. One row of informations with the timestamp, summary, what happened, who launched, when launched, and so on. And then I'll just plot on the timeline.
So then my question to you is, how do you decide what is meaningful? Because you have to at some point decide like, hey, something meaningful happened, we should put it on this line of meaningful events. How do you decide what is actually meaningful?
Yeah, very good question. And that was the hardest problem that I have to solve. There are simple informations that everybody can tell that's important, right? We launch a product. Sounds important. So every structured data, I actually attribute a score, subjective score, so to say, by the AI, of course. So launch product X, score 10. We broke something yesterday and then there's no customer, score 10. Right? Somebody said, "Hey, where should I go for holiday next summer?" Score 1. In addition to it, there's a important information contextually, right? For example, this summer vacation sounds very non-important, but imagine the whole team, like 100 people, trying to book for next offsite, and then the place is so important, asking for next destination. So somebody said Tokyo, somebody said New York, somebody said the new information kind of reads historical information as well, with the AI, and then it start pointing at least one direction. One information is at least pointing to one place, at least. On average, like 3 or 4. It's not that important to point in the original source or original conversation. It's really important that they're kind of like lineage connected.
Sounds similar to what Google did with like backlinks, like in the
Exactly.
past, like where you had like some content and maybe Google or one person looking at that one small bit of text on some web page online might look not that important by itself, but the fact that there were just many people linking it, that actually means this information, which looks very benign, actually is quite important because many people are linking to it and talking about it.
Yeah, that's no, you're absolutely right. And then that was my job as well. So before analyst, I was a SCM. I was also doing the SEO, search engine optimization, and then backlink is one of the crucial way to find very important informations. So the ideas literally came from this backlink as well.
Fascinating. It seems like a very common problem that organizations struggle with, and the solution you're proposing, it uses AI. It creates structure out of chaos, and I think there must be a need for this in the market. So let's talk a little bit about your own experience with like the product development and the technical decisions that you made to get to where you are with the product and the company. How did you build it?
Yeah. So a lot of AI.
Yeah, that's often the case these days. We hear a lot of that.
Yes. So as I said, I used to work in analyst, so backend. I used to do the Python, so very basic skills set to organize information, like data tables. That I did quite manual, meaning what kind of informations do I want? Which columns do I want? Where to store it? How to store it? How can we pull it? So that's what I did manually. So backend a little bit, especially like database side. And then basically other than that, I had to build a structure feature, pulling the data from different platforms like Slack, right? Basically, the system has to identify which information is public information or private information, and then show it on the front end. So all this path that I set it from webhook to the front end, I pretty much vibe code it, right? Because I'm the only developer here.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you built the product initially relying heavily on vibe coding and AI, and so I'm curious now. at the point where you are now and going forward, have you experienced like the limitations of what can be done with AI, or are things getting complex and complicated on your side? And if so, how?
Yeah, you asked me this question like long ago, and then I've been thinking about it for a while. I say AI is like a laser beam. If you know exactly which direction you want to shoot and how much and everything, wow, it gets you so fast. Nothing can beat you. But, like a plan doesn't work anymore. And then that actually confuses you a lot because it builds up anyway that a direction that you didn't want to go. And you don't know how much you have to roll back. I mean,
If I understood correctly, your answer essentially we're saying that as long as you do have the actual knowledge of what you really want the end result to look like, of course, AI is a great tool that'll help you get there. But if you have some ambiguity, it's going to confidently, like all LLMs, it will confidently fill in that ambiguity with its own guesses, and it will just implement its guesses.
yeah, exactly. It, yeah, I'm so glad that I had this background knowledge about database, and I'm sure I'm making stupid mistakes on the front end side. It could have been one line, but I don't know. Like maybe it's like 10,000 lines and doing the same thing, right? Like, so the specialty, like skill set is still relevant in my opinion. And I wish to hire those people if I have a budget. And then, yeah, so that's it. Like one concrete example, like everything becomes average as well. Like I wanted to have like timeline, nice timeline, like visually talking, right? And then of course AI knows the average of how it looks like on the timeline. And then that's not exactly what I want, like at all, actually. And then I think I fought like 3 days, 4 days, because it spits out everything average. It's kind of like a producing like images, like the face is always symmetric because that's what they know. And then you tell the AI like, no, I don't want the symmetric face because it looks artificial. And then you keep telling the same, but they cannot because they only do the average of everything.
Yeah, it's in their weights. Like in their weights, they have gathered a bunch of information from whatever the AI companies have scraped, and they have scraped mostly like all kinds of generic examples from Stack Overflow. When it comes to like code and solutions, it's going to be a bunch of Stack Overflow answers over the years, and Stack Overflow answers are made by people who want to suggest something that kind of works to somebody that wanted an answer, but then that somebody who wanted the answer was then supposed to go tweak it. But that happened behind the scenes. The AI has not scraped the actual final result of something looking more cool or more interesting than the generic answer that somebody answered on Stack Overflow years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's all their average, waiting for a special people with the skills to finally tweak for us.
Yeah. And so where do you see things going now? Like where are you in terms of the growth of the company, and kind of what are the challenges that you're experiencing going forward now as you're trying to go beyond what you can do with early stage MVP building using vibe coding?
Yes. So friends are using it. So one thing I'm doing right now is like, how can I nail to post on the product hunt, or like like I'm trying to gain the visibility. Like I need to create a LinkedIn account to really promote. Do I have to do ads? It's definitely, yeah, I need more number of customers to statistically say like, people like it, or I should continue or not.
So it's not really at the stage where you're looking for funding, but rather you need to kind of have proof of concept and get users to use the product, so you can get feedback in order to improve it, and also understand whether this is something that really has legs that you can put your time into and work on. Has working with AI, has it changed the way that you think about product development or building a business?
Yeah, completely.
How?
First of all, I don't need that many people anymore because I can nail the averages, and then there are many parts that you just have to nail the average. Financing yourself, like a budget and all these things, like you can just go average, in my opinion. So I don't have to hire a lot of people. So I'm sure like tiny founders will rise. I mean, you already see on the news media, but I think that's just the beginning. And the development side, people just do it, and then they might approach the consultants to just review it once.
It's also very difficult. Like even if you vibe code app, and even the simplest apps, they already are usually 1,000 lines of code, like easily 1,000. And then if you give them off to somebody to audit, that auditor will also have a tough time figuring out issues. Like they might look at it, but the issue might be hidden away amongst 1,000 lines of what they nowadays call the slop, because it was just so hard to audit it and get a good, meaningful response and actually make your money's worth if you hand it off to an auditor.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, the scale's completely different. Yeah.
The good thing, though, is that you gain speed in the early stages, but there's always a downside, a sacrifice that needs to be made, whether that's cognitive debt or some other kind of technical debt that you're accruing on the product side. What advice would you give to other founders who are building a product today, maybe in the way that you're building yours?
Yeah. So I think time has to be now. Because the original code references we have is still from humans. I mean, but AI is writing everywhere, and then like some companies only write code with AIs. So the reference point will be informations from AI, right? And then that might confuse us more without noticing it.
To add on top of that point, we also cannot forget the fact that more and more people are starting to dislike AI as a whole and are intentionally poisoning their data nowadays. No doubt there's going to be many developers who are submitting stuff to GitHub and adding in markdown files and special instructions for the LLMs, like, to produce some interesting results.
Yeah, this is it. And this will be the last relevant time for the builders and the coders, I think. And then I think attention will shift it to somewhere more like physical robots and so on. If you want to do this topic, I think only now. Yeah.
Fascinating. So we're really kind of at the precipice of a changing of guard, so to speak, of the way that products are built and the way that the coding is done.
You, Shin, also mentioned, correctly, I think, that we are now in a situation where the data for the LLMs and such is basically, becoming worse and worse. But I wanted to ask your opinion, since you're very much in the deep of it now. How is it with token prices and whatnot? Because subsidies are going away, and I'm hearing news that the token prices are going up and up and up. How has it been on your end?
Yeah, I'm using Cloud Code. Thanks to Elon Musk allowing Anthropic to use the data center, I don't have to pay extra to vibe code, at least for myself. But before I was, oh my God, the errors. And I was looking for local coding machines, like, I forgot the name, LM Studio. And then, I can also spin up the coding agent locally with my poor MacBook M4 Pro GPUs, which is not strong enough. I think I have one of the good computer out there, but still not good at all. It takes like 1, 2, 3 minutes to output for one answer, and then you cannot work like that. So we are still highly depending on Cloud Code or other coding agent hosted cloudly, and the price is okay for myself. I don't know about the company.
Yeah, at least if somebody needs to do it for themselves today, we still have one sort of affordable option, which is a combination of what you said, which is spinning up your own agents, but don't do it locally. Do it on some cheap-ish virtual machines like Hetzner. But even that, like, if more people start doing it, demand for Hetzner machines is going to go up, and Hetzner is going to up their prices because the demand is going up.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the development speed of the coding agent is slowing down, to be honest. I think it's hitting the very good average, like what we just talked about.
Fascinating perspective. Shin, thank you very much for your thoughts and your rundown of your product and your business. It's a unique niche that I think a lot of corporations, a lot of enterprises struggle with, and yeah, your product has the potential to really make a difference for a lot of users.